Thank you. Appreciate everybody being here. I had a long speech. I was going to talk about something else first, but since AC said that, I'm going to talk about him. Just how lucky we are here at Middle Tennessee to have just a phenomenal athletic communications director like Mark Owens. Just does a fantastic job, and he needs to be in the Virginia Tech, Middle Tennessee, the Memphis Hall of Fame as well. But I'd like to start out first off after that by saying just how much I and our players appreciated the fans that came to the game. It was really a great turnout. It made the atmosphere really fun. It was fun for those guys to play in, and it was loud. It was exciting. You know, just everything that was involved in that, everybody that had a role. I just really appreciate you and thank you for it. And we're going to need you again this week as we play Duke. They're coming off a good win last weekend, and David Cutcliffe, their head coach, is one of the best coaches in this profession. He does things the right way. He's a winner. He's been a winner all his life, and what he's done at Duke is really tremendous. The consistency that they've won since he's been there and how he's turned that program around. So we have all the respect in the world for Duke and their program, and it starts with him. They got a lot of good players. It's a good team coming in here. They're very well coached, like I just said, in all three phases of the game. They had good players, so we got to be ready. We got to correct some of the mistakes that we've made the first 2 weeks and continue to get better and get ready for this game. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Coach, what have you seen from their quarterback, Quinton Harris? It looks like he's a pretty athletic guy, maybe the most athletic quarterback you've seen so far this season.
Yeah, I thought Shea Patterson was really athletic also. He's a good runner. This guy is a good athlete also. He's got a great pocket presence. Watching him in the pocket, he will run some predetermined quarterback runs. He'll extend plays with his feet because he's a good athlete. He's got a quick release. He gets the ball out fast. He's accurate. He can throw the deep ball as well as the intermediate routes and the quick screen game. So he's a really good quarterback, and Coach Cutcliffe has done a good job developing him.
Coach, I know you said after the game that you weren't exactly pleased with how Tom played. How do you get the running game going early against these guys, especially with their front line and Victor Okeke on the outside?
Well, I didn't say I was. I said Shaitan, if he carried the ball 10 times, he probably had 5 good runs and 5 bad runs, and he carried the ball 9 times. So. He did some good things. He's got to do some things better. We didn't have the ball. We only had the ball 23 plays, I think, the first half against Tennessee State. So it's hard to establish a run. I thought we did a really good job of running the football when you look at the end of the game. So did a nice job closing out the game, running the ball. We did a nice job in the second half moving the chains, running the ball. So when you say get the running game going, I thought we did some good things. We just didn't have many at-bats the first half. And, you throw the ball, if you got 22 plays, you throw it 11, 12 times and you run it 10, it's going to be hard to establish anything. So we've got to do a better job of getting off the field defensively and then staying on the field offensively than what we did last week against Tennessee State in the first half. But Shaitan's a good back. He'll do better this week. He'll do better next week as the season progresses. And just, you get better each week. And he was better against Tennessee State than he was against Michigan. And hopefully he'll be better this week. But he did a lot of good things and did a couple things he's got to improve on.
Coach, last week you guys faced a wide receiver, Chris Roland, who's pretty small, shifty, fast guy. This week it looks like Duke has a few more bigger guys over 6 feet. So how do you kind of contain their wide receivers this week as opposed to last week?
Well, last week Chris is a really dynamic player. He's a good player, and he probably had 100. He had over 200 yards of receiving yards, and 96 and 40 something came on 2 plays because we missed tackles. So we've got to tackle better, and that's not taking anything away from him. I don't want to discredit the type of player he is because he's a good player, but a lot of that was a result of our missed tackles. So we've got to do a better job there, and we're going to face good receivers every week. You can ask me that question every week. Out of conference, the people we play, and then the type of receivers that are in this conference. There's going to be good receivers, so we just got to, do our fundamentals, play our responsibility and our technique, and as a DB, you got to compete every play. You got to compete every snap. They're going to get you sometimes, and you're going to get them sometimes. You got to have a short memory, and play with no fear, and that's how we'll do it.
After the game, I think I asked you about Jaron Pierce. Just what have you been most impressed with through 2 games, and I guess fall camp, and now 2 games into the season with what he's been able to do?
I really like Jaron Pierce. I like his personality. I like his smile. He loves football. He comes to work every day. He competes every practice, every play at practice. I love his attitude. He's a good football player, and but I just like his toughness and his competitiveness and his willingness to learn and get better every day. He's had a nice start to his season.
Michigan game, you had no field position. In the kicking game the other night seemed to really play into your favor. I thought your coverage the other night, what has been the key to your kick coverage so far this year?
Well, we've done a really good job. Our guys have bought in, to special teams, and the Michigan game, their punter was great. He's as good a punter as I've ever faced, and his ability to down the ball, inside the 5, was really good. And then we had the goal line stand, and we're having to punt out of our end zone because we couldn't get anything going. They got a short field, so there was a lot of different factors in that field position. And today or Saturday against Tennessee State, we did a nice job covering kicks. We flew down there with just a lot of toughness, a great attitude, great speed, no fear, no just complete disregard for our bodies. We ran down there hard, we covered hard, we did our job, and then we did a good job. They got on the 1 yard line after that interception, but we've done a good job covering punts. We've done a good job covering kickoffs, and the kickoff returns. We got a couple of them out of there this week. One we started at close to midfield, and the other one we would have started, in the 40 range, but we had a holding penalty. So I just think it's, Coach Royston's done a good job on kickoff coverage, and our players have bought into it.
What about Duke's defense stands out to you, and what challenges do they provide?
I think the big thing, Chip, is just how disciplined they are. They're well coached. They don't give up big plays. You got to earn everything you get. They're going to, they got really, I remember Duke from when I was at Clemson, and we played Duke all the time. Their talent level is really good. Coach Cutcliffe has done a great job, and his staff, of recruiting players. So they've got good size, they've got good speed. They're really talented. The whole team is, but especially on that defensive side.
Over the years, you've probably followed Coach Cutcliffe. What does he seem to do so well to get his offense going?
I think he does a great job of designing his offense around the ability of his players. And, last year they had, a first-round draft pick at quarterback. Years before they've had, running backs that were really special and unique, and he leaned on those guys. So I think he just does a really good job of, designing his offense around the ability of his players. And this year's offense is similar in some ways to last year when they had, David Jones there at quarterback, but it's different in a lot of ways also. So I just think his ability to adapt to the type of athletes, the type of players that he has, makes him a special coach and makes their offense go.
What are the biggest differences this year in their offense?
Formationally and schematically, you're probably not going to notice a lot of difference. I mean, there's still a bunch of empty set. They're still shotgun. They're still throwing it a lot. They're doing more zone read, run stuff with the quarterback, more predetermined runs with the quarterback than what they did last year with the guy they had.
Do you have a relationship with David? Like, have you guys talked over the years when he was at Tennessee and at Duke?
The relationship's built on respect. The respect that I have, I've never coached with him. I've had some buddies of mine that coached together at Clemson that coached with him at Ole Miss and at Duke. But just when I see him at the conventions or meetings or whatnot, or he'll call me to recommend a coach if I have a coaching opening. So we've got a mutual respect, but to say I've never coached with him or anything like that, but I do consider him a friend. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week. And we'll bring up the great Mark Owens here.